basically on null curriculum. So I'm going through the literature support which need to study. So basically science education has two major goals. One, to make science professionals, and two, to make scientific literate citizenry. If we go to the scientific literate citizenry, there are some indicators which show that the people are scientifically literate. These are the indicators you can see, and I have made the red marks because I'm going to focus on that one. So the scientific literate citizen, they make informed decision about their environment, their own life and well-being. There comes the non-curriculum actually. So when I was in my higher secondary, I realized that there are some topics that teachers skip while teaching in the classroom. Those are in the textbooks, but they don't teach in the classrooms. So there comes the null curriculum. The null curriculum is what is exactly in the intended curriculum, but when the real other phase takes place, the enacted or implemented curriculum, there are some topics which are left behind. They are not taught in the school. So there the non-curriculum takes place and the teacher's values are basically mediated in here. If we go to the null curriculum's definitions, the most important I think it attracted me. Null curriculum is powerful by the virtue of its absence. When the teachers exclude some topics, it gives a message to the students that this topic is not important enough. You don't have to study it. So these were basically my research questions. What topics are left behind? Why are they left behind? And what is the impact of the topics which are not taught in the school? And these were my instruments. I used some focus group discussions, some interviews with the teachers, curriculum developers, and teacher educators and textbook writers. Now I go to my, it was my framework. I had two phases of my study. In my first phase, I took interviews and focus group discussions from the teachers and students. But then I felt there is a gap. So I reached out more to have data from the teacher educators who wrote the textbooks, who wrote the curriculums. So if you see my findings, they are quite debatory. Some say this and some say that. They are not exactly the same. So when I came to the first topic, what are basically left behind, the students' opinion was no, nothing is left behind. They don't answer that there is something left behind. That maybe because they were afraid that their teacher would be angry, or maybe they already know the stuff. But the teachers had a very clear vision that they exclude a chapter which is based on adolescence, reproductive organs, and some other sensitive stuffs on class 9-10 science education. My second question was, why are these topics left behind? So when I got the teacher's opinion, they shared their views why they don't teach these topics, and then I reached out to the curriculum developers and textbook writers who wrote these topics. Obviously they have a motive why they include this topic. So I reached out to them to have their justifications. The teachers' first opinion was they feel uncomfortable to teach these topics about adolescence, about reproductive organs, about some sort of things. And the teacher educators basically say that, yeah, feeling uncomfortable is possible, but after all this training they go through, it's not actually acceptable. The teachers also claim that when they teach these kind of topics in classroom, there might be something, the classroom management would be tough for them, students might smile or they laugh at each other, and yeah, there are always some way to manage the class. And the teachers were very convinced that the students already know these stuffs from their parents or from internet or other sources. So there was again another debate that can we rely on that? And some of the teachers, actually many of the teachers, say that the students are not proper age for this adolescence or some reproductive organs education. And if we go to the textbook writers, they really had a very big research and they think that this is their proper age. And the last thing, because Bangladesh is basically a Muslim country, so the concept of evaluation is contradictory to the religion, so they exclude the topic as well. And the textbook developers and curriculum writers, they think that the teachers lack pedagogical content knowledge. So if we go to what is the impact, the teachers actually don't see any impact if excluding these topics. Rather they expect it to be excluded from the textbooks. And the curriculum developers, they realize that if they don't teach these topics in classrooms, there might be some consequences, there might be some misconceptions, there might be some distorted imaginations, there might be some knowledge which is not correct. So there might be some superstitions and other things. These were the justifications from the textbook writers and the teachers developers. So basically there are 5 reasons why they exclude the topic. These were the 5, I already told this, and I will now discuss. So we can see there are some relation to the socio-scientific issues with the teacher's beliefs. So socio-scientific issues are actually controversial social issues with conceptual or procedural links to the science. We can see the teachers have their own beliefs, and those beliefs actually take place when they teach science. The socio-scientific issues can be global as climate change, and they can be local as in our country evolution is a socio-scientific issues. Classroom management and pedagogical content knowledge is a very important issue, because when the teachers say that the students are not old enough to know about adolescence when they're in class 9, 10, or so there is a gap. It's a very specific gap in their content knowledge. And when the teachers say that they find it very uncomfortable, or their classroom management is not very convenient for them to teach these topics, there are gaps in their pedagogical knowledge as well. So we can see that the pedagogical teachers lack actually the pedagogical content knowledge. So other thing that the teachers have the feeling that the students already know this stuff from other sources. What could be the consequences? First, we cannot ensure that all the students have internet access. Second, there is a very strong chance that the students get distorted information or wrong information or false information, because in the internet we know that all the information is not authentic. And the third, when they know from other sources, their learning is not actually evaluated. We cannot judge that if they actually know the proper thing or not. So if we judge the impact, I have actually divided into 2. First, the students are not scientifically literate, because we know I have said in the first slide that the first indicator of scientific literacy, one of the indicators of scientific literacy, that they can make informed decisions about their environment and their own health-being. So health and well-being. But if they miss some topics in the textbook, their scientific literacy might have some gaps. And impact in terms of social change, well, there is an example. When a person rapes a 4-year-old child, and because he doesn't know that the 4-year-old child doesn't have a mature reproductive organ, so there is a gap in his knowledge. So there is a chance that if we teach these topics in classrooms, some of the social issues like child marriage, child pregnancy, child rape, malnutrition, children and mother's death, and superstitions and unnecessary rituals about the first menstruation or wet dreams, they will be reduced. And poverty in addition to gender equality, these are also slightly related to this topic, so this cannot also be addressed. Implication of these findings, my mentor, my teacher, actually he developed the concept that the education policy has impact on research, and research also has an impact on education policy. And research also has an impact on teaching and learning practices. Both it goes as well with teaching and learning practices with education policy and research. So what are the possible areas of improvement? There are some courses we call Bachelor in Education. Before going to teaching, they have to take a course like Bachelor in Education. TQI, Teacher Quality Improvement Projects. There can be SMC, School Management Committee training. There can be madrasa training, religious school training, the parents training, guardian training, teacher training, head teacher training. The curriculum and textbook has to be more supportive to for the teachers so that they can deliver their lessons. And there is also another scope that the teachers might get a guideline or something to specifically teach the specific chapter. And that was my last slide, and I have a video. If you are interested, I can play it for you. There's a subtitle. I don't think I don't have too much time, do I?
No. Yeah, I do. 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll try. There's a subtitle here. This is basically in India, but it also goes with my country.
Morning students, today we are going to talk about education. Somewhere, Shiksha. So, now we will learn about reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. This any questions? Anyone? You? Anyone? Anyone? No? No? Good. Now, obviously, all you young people want to know how does your sangam happen? Watch carefully. First, you release me. If your mind no sambho, sorry. Then, parents speak. Then, wedding. Then, now we all know what happens at the Swagra. What happens to Talaga? We don't know. The Malik inserts his Hindu culture into the female values. And then we all know what happens. A baby is born? No, stupid! कुछ तो होमवर्क करके नहीं आया प्लीज टेक आउट योर टेक्स्ट बुक अभी निकालो बुक्स लेट अस सिट डाउन फर्स्ट लाइन द एग्जैक्टली जब आप शादी करते हो तो भगवान आपको एक बच्चा गिफ्ट देता है वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन सुब्रमण्यम 1.3 billion gods into one blessing is equal to 1.3 billion babies. Any more important questions? Anyone? Yes?
I think I ran out of time. I could have shown the whole video. But actually, this is the scenario in Bangladesh as well. They don't teach anything in details. They just go through the over their own experiences, and they just skip the parts. And you saw that they don't say the names. They don't say the words. That's what I was willing to say. That's all from me. Any questions?
Yes. Question, please.
So I'm wondering well, first, great job, but I'm wondering, does administration even want them to be covering these chapters?
That's a very good question because when I went to the textbook writers, they really did a good research on that, and they know that these topics are important for the students to know. But when I went to the curriculum developers, there were different values. Even the one of the curriculum developer was not sure that the topic should be included or not. That there is a gap in their mindset. There is a very large gap in their mindset, the generation gap. I don't know.
So I'm just wondering, why would teachers incorporate it if the school in general, the administrators that oversee it, don't want it to be incorporated?
Yeah.
How do you?
The teachers are challenged. The teachers feel challenged when they teach certain topics in the schools, that there might be a chance that he will be called by the head teacher, or he will be called by the parents that the teacher is talking some nasty stuff in classrooms. Yeah. So there are challenges as well. I think I'm done. Yeah. Thanks.
You want to ask one more question?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
What do you think about the situation in your country? Which is the most efficient on the situation? Culture or religious?
To be honest, I think religion is basically not the problem, but their mindset is, because when the this is not like the religion doesn't forbid you to teach your students or your children about these topics, but your culture does. So.
Hey, thank you again.